Hello, hello. As promised, I'm back with the next tutorial, and this one is going to be about food, as I said in the previous one. And I had massive trouble with food in some of my playthroughs, mainly some time ago. But I always had some issues where I would run like out of dirt, or I was too late with fixing stuff, and eventually I would run out of food, and then duplicants would die. And I want to give you pointers so that you never ever have issues with food, and just generally give you my opinions and my way of doing things, which I think works fairly well. As you see here, I'm hovering around 250,000 kilocalories with 24 duplicants, and I could have even more if I really wanted to. I mean, it's just a matter of choice after a while, but it really pays if you know what to do. And very important thing in let me find the dirt here. Yeah, so very important thing in the very beginning. Most people, I mean everybody practically, goes with farm tiles or planter boxes at some point, sometimes. But farm tiles is definitely more recommended. They are yielding a little bit more. So farm tiles, and people go with millwood seed obviously because it's the easiest one that you can find in the very beginning, and it only requires dirt pretty much, and water, I believe, right? I may be mistaken about water, I'm not sure. I think it requires some water too. I don't see it here, so it may just be dirt. But anyway, it's very very simple to set it up, and produces some good yield, and you can keep your colony going for a long while. And with that, with the millwood seeds, generally speaking, you do create the microbe masser, which actually I have here in my colony, but it's not working because it doesn't produce good food for my current duplicant. So late game, you're not gonna be using this thing. But in the very beginning, a combination of mill lice and lice loaf, lice loaf requires the water. Yes. So initially you can create like some millwood seed, which will create the mill lice for you. Then put it in a micro masser and create lice loaf. And at times where if your mill lice yield is not good enough, then you also can go back and create some mousse bars, which just require dirt and water. Um, I would recommend using mousse bars so much because it depletes your water faster, and also your dirt, I believe, as well. So lice loaf and mill lice is the recommended approach in the very beginning. Regardless of that, at some point it's very likely that your dirt will start finishing, and even if that doesn't happen, as your duplicants progress with their jobs and become higher tiered, they would require better food, and you can see here in the consumables tab, what they play along with, what's their best type of food, and how they react to it. So at some point you will want to make better food, and you need to know what your options are. So the thing that you would recommend for pretty much everybody to do is create two electric grills, and in one of the electric grills handle the gristleberries, and in the other one handle the fried mushrooms. And instead of going for the bristleberries, I would definitely urge you to go for the mushrooms first, because they produce more calories. That's the most important thing, and they are easier to set up as well, much easier than the blossoms, which require some very specific conditions. So fried mushrooms, as you see here, which you can have on continuous, obviously, produce. They have quality poor, but that's fine. It's +1. It's better than grizzly. So they produce 2,400 calories, and bristleberries. You go bristle, sorry, produce 1,600 calories. So you see that's a pretty important difference there. So if you want to keep your colony going with many kilocalories, I would definitely recommend the fried mushrooms instead of the bristleberries. But you could have both, and I think it does give you 2,000 eventually. Yes. So the ingredients is 1600. But so 2000 for a grizzleberry and 2800 for a mushroom. That's a huge difference there, obviously. And in terms of the conditions now, you see here I have like two farms, and this is you see the grizzleberries. Sometimes they so pressure, for example, here all of a sudden. Yeah, it happens. I mean, you can work on those if something like that happens. Shouldn't be a big deal. But the nice thing about mushrooms is that you can just put them in a CO2 box, as you see a carbon dioxide box in the bottom at the bottom of your base, and just have them grow there. And that's pretty much the most important thing that they need. And also I think their maximum temperature is like 35 Celsius, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 5 to 35. So that's even better than bristleberries, which require 30, I believe, at most, right? So these are way easier to handle, and you can also have like some wizwards here, and I do have some wizwards just because the area around here is very hot, as you see. So I had to insulate, which you can do too. I like to insulate some of the food areas because I want to keep them cool. And in this case, I had to use some bristleberries also, some wizwards also. Sorry, because it's a very hot biome here, and I didn't have too much space in my normal biome. My original biome does have this space here, and I use it for bristleberries because it's full of oxygen. I mean, it doesn't have any carbon dioxide here, so I cannot really grow mushrooms here per se. And as I mentioned in my previous tutorial, I have a volcano here, which doesn't really help the situation. But in case you have something like that, you really need to very quickly insulate it, if not open it at all if possible. But yeah, that's how you go about it, and pretty much yeah, that's what I'm using: fungal spores for mushrooms and blossom seeds. And later on, you can experiment with the slit weeds, which require very specific conditions, or the pincha pepper plants and all that. And I will be creating different tutorials for all of those. But this is what you need to be doing in order to keep your colony alive, very easily alive in terms of food. And also remember to have a farm station on each room that you are building. And currently I'm out of fertilizer just because I was moving my fertilizer makers to another room. Because the problem with the fertilizer makers, which you will need to make in order to make fertilizer, I think they're in refinement, the fertilizer synthesizers, is, and I can show you the place, what I'm talking about. Where am I having my production here? So I have my natural gas here, and this is like a box for my natural gas. It's obviously very hot. And what I want to do is I want to create my fertilizer synthesizers here because they produce natural gas. And so once they are here, the natural gas will eventually go over here into my natural gas area. And obviously you can always have them in a separate room and pipe the gas regardless, over here, for example, or in the machines directly, whatever you want. But I thought this would be a cute setup, and I just want to experiment a little bit. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And by the way, seeing these messages, it's really not about me. I hate when this happens, because you find something here and on the very bottom, and all of a sudden you get messages for overheated stuff, and it's not really my stuff. So yeah, that sucks a little bit. But anyway, that's how you should be thinking about food, and doing these steps would keep your colony going for a long time. And I'm pretty sure you can easily hold like at least 35 duplicants with this amount of production that I have right now. That's it in this tutorial, and hopefully it will help you. It's very easy to die if you don't take the correct approach towards food. Very easy. And one of the last things that I have to say with food is if you have like 240,000 24 what the heck 240,000 I wanted to say, if you have like around let's say 150, for example, 150k of kilocalories, and all of a sudden you see it going to 100, something's wrong. So, and you need to address that very soon, very quickly. Pay special attention to food, because if something goes wrong, it takes time to fix it. and you want to have a lot of time in order to to work around your food, because if your duplicants start starving, they can die very very quickly. So just pay super attention to food, and once you see it getting reduced, immediately jump into it, and take the appropriate steps to fix it. That's it. Thanks for watching. Next video probably going to be about power. I think that's another topic that's interesting, and we can discuss a few things there. And so, yeah, I think I'm gonna be talking about power generation and what are your options and how you should be going about it, so that you have a seamless power grid around your base. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon on the next video. Bye.